Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Don't Blame Me Pod. Today, yeah, I love that. Today we have two different aesthetics. What are you, a Melissa or a Megan? If you're watching, you're gonna know because I'm currently under a blanket with a giant sweater and tee, and Melissa's here not only in like a blazer, a skirt, a statement necklace. She also has on heels, and she looks like I hope you all are a Melissa. Though I'll feel bad about myself. You're winning this. Not that it was a competition, but
Your sweater's really cute. Like
from
super
Target.
cute. Yeah, it's nice.
thanks.
Yeah, I just had a meeting earlier and casual clothes, business casual.
Yeah, business casual. I don't even know how to dress business casual. Like, so no jeans?
Yeah.
Not those? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to wear things that aren't jeans. Well, guys, this is another Melissa and Megan exclusive.
It's March, baby.
It's March, bitches. March Madness
Yeah,
basketball.
it's happening right now.
Swish. Who are you rooting for?
Always University of Arkansas.
La-duh.
Woo Pig Suey, if they're in it or not.
Pig Suey?
Woo Pig Suey.
Woo
That's how
Pig
you
Suey.
call the hogs.
Oh, are you guys the Hogs?
Woo Pig Suey. Razorbacks.
Is that a...
It's a hog. It looks like Pumbaa.
Oh
It's a
my
wild
God.
boar.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. I love
Mhm.
that. Yeah, I don't know who I'll root for them for you.
Okay, cool.
You're welcome. I know that like my mental thought process of like I'm rooting for them is really going to help them win.
Yeah.
So guys, this is a advice podcast, and we are going to be playing your voicemails and giving you some advice. I doubt any of it pertains to March Madness. Wow, look at us, a sports podcast
Right.
now.
Sports.
The phone number to call us is 310-694-0976, and international listeners can email us an audio file to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. So we're going to give you some advice, and we're not going to fuck up your life.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I can't make any guarantees.
No fucking promises here.
No.
We might fuck it up. We might.
But guess what? Don't blame
us.
Hi, Megan. I am 20 years old, and I've been dating a guy for 6 years. I think I've called in before. I don't know if you guys ever answered my question. I don't think you did. I've been listening to all the podcasts. But I basically did a really bad job at explaining my situation, and now my situation has intensified. So I figured I'd call back and try to give a better explanation of my situation, give you an update, and ask for new advice, because it just keeps getting messier. So basically, like I said, I've been dating the same guy for 6 years since freshman year of high school, and I'm now a senior in college and about to graduate. And basically, for the past, 3 or 4 years, I've kind of been debating my sexuality. I'm pretty positive. I like girls as well as boys. I haven't really officially put a label on it. I kind of just say I like people that are nice and are cute to me. I don't know. I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to, and that's kind of that. Whatever. So basically, probably about a year or two ago now, on a drunken night, me and my friends were all playing a drinking game, and somehow that ended up with me kissing one of my girlfriends, and like a few times. And ever since then, my boyfriend's been kind of weird about like whenever we hang out, and especially since I started talking about the fact that I think I like girls. Well, and he's kind of just like a little bit suspicious of it, and like we'll kind of joke around like, "Oh, you like or whatever." Sorry, I shouldn't have said her. Anyways, makes jokes about it and whatever. Well, then basically everything has been fine. I date my boyfriend still. I debated my sexuality, and I don't really know what to do about all that stuff. And then recently on New Year's Eve, I had a very messy night. I got very intoxicated, and probably more than I should have. And my boyfriend had went to sleep earlier than me because he just wasn't feeling good that night. And I don't remember most of the night, and I talked to my friend about what happened, and she kind of explained. But yesterday, one of my friends mentioned that me and my friend were kissing, and I have no memory of that. My friend never mentioned it to me, and I kind of just am in a situation now where I don't know what to do. I know I should probably ask her what exactly happened, and then if she says that did happen, then I should automatically tell my boyfriend. But I'm just like very unsure of the situation, and I feel a mess. I also just don't know what to do with my feelings about anything, about my sexuality. It's dating my boyfriend. I just feel like my life's a mess, so please give me some tough love advice. I feel like I desperately need it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Oh my God, I'm not going to give you tough love. You don't need tough love at all. You need gentle love because this is like, yeah, your life. I wouldn't call your life a mess, but like you're definitely like, you're going through like a period of like change and like it's fucking rattling. Like I think the first thing I'll say is that's it's a really long time to be dating someone. And also, like we've said before, like those are really like crucial years of like figuring out who you are. And you're doing that with somebody else. And no matter how supportive somebody else can be, I think there's also like when you start changing and you don't necessarily like recognize like the things that you're as into, even like interests or friends or hobbies or like gender, sexuality, all of those things, like it's hard in general for you to come to terms with things for most people. And it's even if no matter how supportive your partner is, like you're going to feel everyone assumes everyone else is kind of judging you. Yeah. Even if he is being really supportive. So I would say, I think you just kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say like break up with your boyfriend and like figure out your own stuff. But at the same time, I think that's the reason why you're so stressed out and this feels so messy is because like the stakes are really high in the sense that like you aren't able to like, obviously like drunk you is like making choices that sober you is like, oh gosh, no, that's not really what I like intended or planned on doing. And that being said, like, I don't think that you obviously said you don't remember and all of that stuff. And I think that's valid. But I think you owe it to yourself and to your boyfriend to like, you need to figure out you. And like, that isn't, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And like, I don't want you to feel like you fucked up in any sort of way because I don't think you did. And also this is the queen of being like, you don't make out with other people if you're in a relationship and all that stuff. But like, I'm being contradictory here. So like, suck my dick. Who cares? I just think you need to be like gentle with yourself in figuring this out. And if you're trying to not hurt somebody else and like think about somebody else's feelings when you're trying to figure out your own, I think that's just like, you're going to have a fucking brain aneurysm.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I know you said you don't want to tell him to break up, but maybe not break up, go on a break.
Yeah.
Just and say, because both of you guys were so young when you got together and neither of you have had the experience or time to see like who you are as an adult without this person.
Yeah.
So maybe just go on a break and I feel like we've given this advice before. It was on an episode a long time ago, but go on a break. And it wasn't like trying to figure out your sexuality, but it's basically the same. But just go on the break and see if see if you actually, because you kind of think you like girls.
Yeah.
And maybe see if it's not just kissing that you like to do. And if it is just kissing, then cool.
Yeah.
And if you guys find yourselves back with each other, then cool too. But I think you're going to regret it if you never explore more.
Because I think that's just what builds resentment is that like you might not even, it might be that you might not even like the girls that you've been interested in so far to that kind of level that surpasses just kissing and making out. But if you don't figure that out, you're going to end up resenting your partner because that's the reason why you're not figuring it out. And it has nothing, and that doesn't mean that he's a bad person or anything like that. But like when you are in a relationship, you're held to certain expectations. And like, as much as like, I think it's first of all, I think it's awesome how like communicative you are. Like that's great. I am like a huge fan of communication. My therapist is always like, yeah, Megan likes to over communicate everything, but I think that's great. And I think like I can imagine how hard it would be to, you know, like I hate saying come to terms because that sounds like it's a bad thing, but like have that realization and like say it to yourself and then say it to your partner and then have him feel weird about you being around one of your friends when that situation for you was probably like the first time you ever kissed one of your friends was probably like a wow, holy shit.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like that's a really emotional and like change and very different and confusing time for you. And for him to make a judgment on that, I don't think that means he's a bad person, but if I were in your position, like that would make me then feel like, oh, it just adds to the confusion.
Right.
And I don't think that's fair for you because like it's already confusing. And then having someone else's opinion and input into it, I think just adds to all of that messiness. And yeah, exactly like you said, like you guys might end up like coming back together. But I think if you do take a break, you've been really great at communicating like before.
Right.
So I think
like he knows about the kissing
and tell him that. Just be like, I just feel like I never want to hurt you. And it makes me like, I'm really like, and like you said, like I didn't know, I was so drunk. I didn't know this happened. And I clearly need to figure out and explore this kind of side of me in a way that isn't going to hurt you. And like, I really care about you and I don't want to hurt you. So like, I want to take a break and figure all of this stuff out for myself. And like, we'll regroup and come back to where you are and just, establish what you guys are comfortable with during a break. Are you going to be okay? Are you okay with him seeing other people and doing all of that? And I think that's kind of when you guys just need that space because like you said, you don't know yourself as an adult without him. And that's already like, it's already a very hard time in general to like know yourself as an adult. Like I still don't even fully know myself and I'm like 25. So I think you need to be gentle.
I know myself and I don't know myself and I'm 33.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely like a trying sort of time. And, also I think it'll be, I think if you care about him too, because you don't want to hurt him. And this, I think right now you're in a situation where I also just don't think you should like oh, well now I can't drink because what if I do something like this? You know what I mean? Like
it seems like you use the alcohol as an excuse to do something you wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. And I think like, even if you don't drink, it's going to come out in a different way. Like this is something that's like really trying to come out.
Because you did kiss a girl before, which he completely knew about and maybe doesn't think of it as cheating because he was there when it was happening. But he still feels some type of way about it because he comments on it.
Yeah. And also it doesn't even have to mean that you have feelings for your friend at all. It can just be like, this is you realizing that you find girls attractive and you are attracted to them. So it also doesn't mean like that in a break you have to like pursue something else with your friend. I think it's just more about like a time for you to like decompress and like untangle everything in your mind and how you feel without like putting anyone else's feelings into the mix because I think right now it just needs to be about your feelings.
Right. And it seems like it's the same girl both times, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious what her sexual orientation is too.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Hi, Megan. I am 25 years old. I just finished a master's degree and have my first like real career starting job at a company that's really great. And it's a great position to get me started in the field that I want to be in. I have a great team and a really great boss. However, I'm having problems and have been talked to by the manager several times about like inappropriate workplace language, and I feel like it's being brought out of me by my team, because I feel like my team is in some ways very immature. Like within our team, everybody except maybe one or two people are totally fine with making jokes that are like kind of just like friends hanging out jokes and not necessarily workplace jokes. But there's a couple people on our team that are not comfortable with that. And then also we have like a cubicle space where multiple teams share like the same area, and other teams complain that we are loud and that we are talking about things that are inappropriate. For example, and this one like really made me mad, that another team, apparently a couple of us, including myself, were talking about periods, and that made them uncomfortable, and they complained to their boss and or HR. And so I got talked to, and I don't know who else got talked to about that. So the feminist inside of me is really like mad about that, because it's like, okay, periods are not taboo to be talking about. I guess workplace, who knows? Anyways, yeah, I don't know what to do, because I feel like it's being brought out of me by these people, and I guess the answer is that I need to get better self-control, but like I've been brought up multiple times, and I'm having a hard time like refraining from participating in these conversations, and I guess I would just like your advice on what to do.
Okay, I will say before we get into this, I think like you really should have picked a different example than the period one, because like you know our feminist like like soft spots,
right?
And I think like just in general, as somebody who like I will talk about like my period.
I've literally on the show worn a shirt that said administrating.
There's literally but that as like using that as an example like is just, as before you just said that, right before that you had said like, oh, we got in trouble for just being too loud. Those things can be correlated of like, it doesn't even necessarily matter what you're talking about.
Right.
If you're talking loud and disrupting people while you work, that's not a feminist. Like, oh no, I should be able to scream off the top of my desk. Like I'm bleeding. Like that's no. I mean, like I'm still spotting like a couple days after my period, but like I'm not screaming that next to somebody who's trying to do like an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's not about what you're doing and what you're speaking about in that instance. So I wish you would have used a different example, because that.
But even if you're being loud and talking,
exactly.
You said this. You said I'm talking to my work friends, my coworkers, as if they're my friends. But you're at work. When you're at work, you're there to do your job and make money.
Yeah,
you don't have to be there to make friends.
No, and like if you're watching the video, you might have seen me, feel bad about myself because you're 25, you just finished your master's and all of this. And so like as somebody who works on sets and whatever and things like that, I've been on sets before where we've had to have like sit down conversations about like what is appropriate and not appropriate to talk about at work. Yeah. Whereas my friends and I feel super comfortable like talking about things like that, like anything crazy, like, oh my God, who'd you sleep with? Like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. All of these things. Like, you want to hear about the crazy thing that happened to me last night? And we're comfortable talking about that. But we've literally had people we've had producers, higher ups come up to us and be like, we love that you guys get along so well. And we love like you guys can talk about whatever you want, but it's not even the content necessarily that you're talking about. But you can't be disruptive of other people like just in general. If you're going to have any sort of conversation, you need to keep it quieter, because like this is a place of work and we're happy you're having fun and you should have fun at work, but you still need to you can't prevent other people from having their job for you to have a good time. Yeah. And then also you need to be aware of the fact that like you guys have consented to have this conversation and you're both comfortable with it. But if somebody else is around and is uncomfortable, you don't get to bring them into this. Like if you want to have this conversation, go to a place where it's just you two who talk about this. You can't bring other people
like
around
lunch
in this
when you're not at work.
Exactly. And that's like the thing that like, I mean, there were definitely times where I'm like, oh, now that I think about it, yes, there are definitely like a couple of people like who are sitting with us who I think are going to be fine with it. But I also realize that like I have seniority here. So they're not going to say something to me that they feel uncomfortable. They're going to tell somebody else. And also they have every right to feel uncomfortable because that's not what they signed up for when they did an interview for this job.
Right.
And it's I don't want to be an asshole, but I'm going to be like the whole idea of like putting on like, oh, two people aren't okay with it. That's like a bully move. Like that's a total bully move of being like, we're all fine with it. Why aren't they fine with it? That's saying a group of guys talking shit on women. Well, the women aren't okay with it. And it's like, well, you don't get to make like the standard of what everybody else should feel comfortable with at all, especially when it's in talks of comfortability.
Right.
Like,
right. And you shouldn't be doing this. Like, and you can't blame other people for bringing you into the conversation either.
Like,
because
you have your master's, girl.
Right.
You went to school. You like,
you know,
come on.
You know what's right from wrong because you wouldn't be calling in if you didn't think that. You also said that you have a hard time like restraining yourself and you know you need to have better self-control. Like you answered the question for yourself.
Yeah. I think like, if anything, I would also take this as like a learning moment of your instinct reaction when you kind of get like told off by a superior should be like regret and embarrassment. And the fact that this has happened multiple times and you're kind of like, this to me, this sounds like an authoritative, like this is not an authority. Like, this is you having an issue with authority in this, that like you need to realize early, like sooner rather than later, that this isn't like, oh wow, fuck, our boss is being so uptight.
Yeah.
Like you should feel a little bit of secondhand embarrassment of like, oh shit, this cubicle next to us, like we're getting in the way of their work day. And I think like you can have fun at work. And like I've been told off for talking too loud of something like that. And like I'm like, I feel so bad, I want to cry, like immediately. But like you can still have fun without making other people uncomfortable. And also as a self-appointed feminist, like you should know that like that's like, even if you're talking about like women's issues and things like that, it's not necessarily about those things. And hey, if there are times when someone like you're talking at lunch in a quiet conversation with somebody and you're talking about
someone
women's
that's
rights,
comfortable having this conversation.
Exactly. And you're talking about women's rights and someone comes up to you and is like, I don't want to hear you talking about that. Then you can make a stand there. Like that's something that like for sure. But like when it's on someone else's like pay, like this is the clock in, they're working and doing all of this, you're interrupting and disrupting their workplace. And even if it makes your day more fun, it also doesn't contribute to your productiveness at work at all. It's not like, oh no, I need to be able to talk loudly and do all of this.
Like, go do your work.
Yeah. Like, and like, it's just, I just don't think it's a smart mentality to maintain in the workplace because like, it's not this office. Like it's any office. Like that's not gonna slide.
Right. And I'm sure that your employers too are probably trying to protect themselves as well, because this can be an HR issue that you get written up and you could easily get fired for this too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you have to get another job and you have to reference list your like latest employers, and it's like, oh yeah, she had an issue with like making people uncomfortable at work. Yeah. And I think also you need to reframe your mindset of being like, I'm like the level of noise and like what we're not necessarily like specifically what we're talking about, but like everything that we're talking about in like loud levels, like we need to fix that 100%. Right. And then from there also have a conversation with your coworkers. You said that there's one or two people, you already know the people who aren't comfortable. You should have already stopped talking about anything that makes them uncomfortable in front of them, you know?
Yeah. And if you want to have fun with your coworkers, do it when you're not clocked
get
in.
Drinks after work.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing like I think that's a great thing to do. And also like if you work in a space where you guys have to be collaborative and all that, like totally do that, but also don't in the process of it, like you can still like have like whisper funny things with your like the people that are comfortable with that, but like without bringing other people into it. Yeah. Because I mean, I would feel if I felt uncomfortable, like that's terrible. Like if just put yourself in those other people's shoes, like that would feel super sucky, and it makes work a not fun place at the expense of you having fun, and like you won't have any less fun, you know?
Yeah. I've made plenty of friends with the people I work with all the time. And when we are on set, it's serious time. And then when you go out on the weekends, that's when you have fun. So
yeah. So she's never gonna listen to the podcast again.
girl, you're in the wrong. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line.
That's what
You're
we
in the
tell
wrong.
you.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? It's everyone who's not in the wrong is like, hey, just give me the tough love. And then everybody who's in the wrong is like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then here we are being like, oh no, now you get the tough love. You get it when you don't expect it. We'll tell you when you're wrong.
But she already knew. She
Yeah,
said
you
it
know
in the
you're
call.
wrong. You know you're wrong. That's why you called a podcast.
I'm 23. My best friend is now 23. Oh, geez. So she just got married late September. And 2 months before she got married, she found out the guy she's engaged to has been cheating on her through Craigslist. He, like, nothing in person, but, like, he's been sending pictures to girls and getting pictures back. And apparently he's been doing this since 7th grade, which is before they were dating. They've only dated for 3 years. So she caught him, like, she was on his computer and, like, she was snooping a little bit, but like found this, and so caught him 2 months before the wedding. And she told me what happened, and I had to talk with her. I'm like, are you sure you can trust him? Like, stuff like that. And he said he needed to change. He knows he has a problem, like needs to get help. And I guess his dad has had these issues as well. He's a sex addict, but he only went to therapy once and then called it good. And my friend didn't know, like, if he was still doing it or not. So anyway, they got married. It is now 2 months later, and she has caught him again. So he's been doing this up until the wedding, after the wedding. Like, he has been doing this. Just caught him again, and she's asking me, like, what to do about it, and it's just a hard situation because they just got married. So I'm kind of telling her, like, go to counseling, and then if he does this again, like, that needs to be the last time. You can't put up with this. Like, you don't deserve this. And then also the other part of this is they live in Seattle, and I'm moving out there next Saturday to live with them while I transition into apartment. So I'm going to be in the middle of it, and it's just kind of, like, a lot, and I don't really know what to tell her to do. I think at this point, maybe counseling would be best. I don't know. Love you. Help me. Bye.
I do not envy her at all, girl. I am so sorry. I mean, it's definitely worse for your friend. You know that, but like this, let's also address like this fucking sucks for you too.
Yeah. And by this point, when this comes out, you're already there.
So make sure you use headphones to listen to this episode. I mean, the first thing I would say is I think the first mistake that was made here post all of this was him going to therapy as opposed to them going to like couples counseling. Yeah. I think that really should have been the first move.
Well, I don't know because
I think he should go to individual therapy though.
Yes, he should go to individual therapy.
But I think they should have.
But like sex addiction, I was looking up stuff on my phone during the call. I wasn't like texting people.
Yeah, she was. She was swiping.
So sex addiction is widely debated as not being an actual thing, but there's an underlying cause that it's like it's usually stress, anxiety, depression, or shame that drive people to have risky sexual behavior. So it's not like sex is what they're using to cope for the other thing.
I had a psychiatrist who told me he thought I was manic once, and he was like, so I feel like you just like, and have you contracted a lot of STDs? You like recklessly sleep around? I was like, no, I hate so many people. Like it takes a long time before I'm like, okay, I want it. Like there's a few people that I want to sleep with. Like I dropped out of college because I ran out. Like, come on. But yeah, no. So I think, I mean, the first thing I would say is, let's take the whole marriage aspect out of it. And like your friend asking you, like, what should I do? I think in that moment, I think, you need to ignore the fact that they're married and you need to say, well, you've got two options right now. And I think you get divorced and I want you to like make that a viable option now too. Because I think the thing is sometimes when people are in like shitty relationships, you're asking your other friends for permission to do something that you want to do. But there is a pressure of marriage there, and she probably feels like a fucking idiot. And like she shouldn't feel like an idiot because like, she loves him. And also there's a lot of emotional manipulation that goes into like a toxic relationship, which if he's been like covering and lying about all of that stuff, like that is toxic.
Since he was in 7th grade.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
But I would say I think
that
need
means
to
there's some other problem.
Totally some other, and like the idea that he's like, oh, and my dad too, like there's a lot of like things that he's putting on there, and like you don't even she doesn't even know if he followed up and went to therapy, and the fact that like she was snooping to begin with at the very beginning. You only snoop if you want to find something. Yeah. As somebody who snooped and found things, I've never snooped and not found something. And there's also plenty of people I've dated who I haven't snooped because like I'm not looking for anything. So I would say I think you need to give her permission to not work on the relationship if she wants to, and like say that as a viable option when she's saying like, what do I do? Like, you know, like you can get divorced. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's no shame in that, and say that and give that as like a full answer, as opposed to being like, well, you guys are married now, so you should really work on it, because it's not, I don't think that's true at all. But then also at the same time, tell her like, if you want to work on this, like you guys should definitely go to couples counseling. Like I'm here to talk to you through all of this. I'm going to support whatever decision is going to make you happy, but there's no way that you guys can continue on in the way that you're going. Like you either need to go to couples counseling, and he should go to individual therapy, but they should definitely go to couples counseling, or they need to get divorced. And I think like offering those up as like two equally as okay options will make her be able to make the choice that she really wants. But I think there is a lot of like society pressure of like, oh, well, now that they're married, like there's some sort of expectation to uphold. And she doesn't have to, because like this is a kind of bullshit that like that she dealt with, and it just like it was bad timing of the wedding, you know? Like
and also if he just went to therapy one time,
it doesn't do anything.
He didn't even get into his problem. He was just telling about himself. He didn't even get to why he was really there.
You can't therapize that.
No.
My friend was recently saying, she's like, yeah, I went to therapy for the first time in 6 months. She's like, and I was like, why is it so short? And I was like, well, that's why you have to go every week, because you can't catch them up on your life. Like he caught the therapist up on like, okay, here's the last 20 like something years of my life, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
And like I've said before on the podcast, like I've gone to therapy and then like stopped when things like got good, and that was like a thing I totally regret, because it's the times when you think everything's fine that like you actually start to figure out like why you do certain things, and like what certain things affect you, and like how you process things differently. And it's a maintenance and an upkeep, not like a solution, because any sort of like mental health, whether it's like depression that he's dealing with or anxiety or anything like that, those aren't things that go away. And the same thing with like why people go to therapy like for their whole lives a lot of the time is because like it's about learning how to cope and deal and like live with these things that you're always going to live with. And like we all have like triggers and hotspots and things that like will like set you off that happen throughout the course of your life. So you can't get like fixed from something like that, because there's nothing to fix. It's just it's a longer process, and of your brain just dealing with things differently, or like not releasing certain chemicals and all that. But I think I honestly think her friend saying like, what should I do, is like asking for permission. Like, can I divorce them?
And the answer is yes.
Yeah. Because like if you already know what you're going to do, you don't ask people, you know, like you're not like, well, what should I do? What do you think I should do? Like in that situation, the only times I've ever asked someone like, well, what do you think I should do, is when I've like wanted permission to do something. Like, is that okay if I feel this way and I want to do this? So I think you just need to cover all your bases with her. And also, when it comes to like being around him, you're already there. So I don't know what you're already doing, but I think you can be like, just the whole thing is like in what I feel like in regards to other people's relationships, when you're directly kind of have to be around there, and you're obviously like in friends with one side of it, your whole goal just needs to be, I'm not going to make my friend's life more difficult. I'm not going to make this harder for them. I'm not going to do anything like that. So I wouldn't start shit when you're living there. I wouldn't because she already is feeling all this pressure and that like uncomfortability and all of those things. She doesn't need you to then like cuss out her her husband, you know? Yeah. Like don't add to the pressure, just be like a friend who will listen. Because like that's the friends that like when I've gone through shit, like that's the best kind of people who are like, I'm not going to like make this harder for you. Yeah. Just going to listen and all that stuff. But I think that they need to he has to also figure out if he wants to work on that too. Because that's the part that like makes me sad. Like shit can happen in relationships, but like the party that is also like guilty should be the one like pioneering like the solutions and of being like, we're going to therapy. I'm really working on this. And if he went one time, to me, that just sounds like a guy who doesn't have intention of changing.
Yeah, he just went so that he can say that he went.
Yeah. And I think even if she wants to do therapy too, I think like saying like, and you can go to therapy and it can also not work after therapy. Like deciding to go to therapy doesn't mean like, oh, we're in this for the long haul. We're going to have kids. This is going to be like us our forever now. She can go and they can go and she can realize and be like, you know what? I don't think this is working. I don't think this is changing. And I think it's also a really good way for her because therapists will be honest. Like it'll be a good way for her to see if he does care and does want to change. But this is rough and also like weirdly unique of like Craigslist.
Right.
Like,
I did see it's been around since 1995. So.
Oh, wow. 2 years after I was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wait, 1995? I was born in 93.
Yeah. That math adds up. So
it's only 2 numbers. That's why I could do it. But like, I just, there's something weird here because this isn't like, we've had calls before where like girls have seen like their significant other or their friends, like husbands or whatever on Tinder and things like that. Like, this is such a, I don't know, like a weird way to go about that.
Craigslist isn't, I'm guessing when he first started getting into this, Craigslist was the only thing he could go to. And now that's what he's familiar with because he was in 7th grade. Yeah. He wouldn't have, I mean, Tinder wasn't around then. He wouldn't have been able to get on dating websites. Yeah. So this is what was most accessible to him. And
but he figured it out through his dad. That's, I mean, So that's the whole thing that I'm kind of.
Yeah, there's something there with him and his dad that they need to, and maybe he needs to go to therapy with his dad. I don't know. Yeah. But something needs to be figured out.
Yeah, and it's not.
Because it happened when he was so young.
That's what I was going to say. This is something that's like so ingrained in like, and like a whole thing in therapy is like habits and things that happen like when you start a certain habit when you're so young, it just becomes a part of your like identity and not necessarily like not in like a positive way. Like it becomes something that you associate with yourself and something that you have already come to terms with and that you kind of just deal with and you don't like.
And honestly, like at this point, it probably has absolutely nothing to do with her.
No, exactly. Yeah. Like that's the part that sucks. It's like now she's caught in the crossfire of something that like he isn't thinking about her and it's not like like he's been doing this for so long.
Yeah, it's been a part of his life longer than she's been a part of his life.
Yeah. So there's something way, way deeper here. And I think like, I think this is like a different kind of sense of like the typical like cheating marriage things. But she also didn't sign up for this. Right. And I think that's like a big thing too. And as somebody who has mental health problems, like if somebody like it would totally suck if I was dating someone and they were like, you know, I really can't, like, I don't want to be with someone who like struggles with that kind of stuff. I'd be like, well, like, I don't like I think everyone struggles with that kind of stuff, but like, I'm not here to tell anyone that they need to be okay with deal breakers. Right. You know, like that's the kind of thing that like, you don't have to.
And it wasn't a deal breaker before they got married because she knew about it then.
Well, the whole thing is there just has to be. I think no matter what, if you're lying to your significant other in a relationship, like that's a toxic relationship. Yeah. And I think you can recover from toxic relationships. And I think people lie in thinking like, oh, I'm protecting someone and all of that stuff. But once you start lying to someone, like it's just a level of respect that like you don't have, that it just, it becomes a whole cycle. And so I think there's a reason why she looked to begin with. And I think that there's definitely, I think there's a reason why you looked or she looked. Like this all comes from something. And so if you add all of those things up, like, is it really worth it to work on it? But you just have to, she just has to give her both options and just support her and talk to her. Best of luck. Let us know how you're doing. Yeah. Because you're there now. I'm sorry it took us a while to get to it. We get a lot of calls.
We do. We try to get to
them as quickly as possible. But so let us know how it's going up in Seattle. The windy city?
That's Chicago.
The rainy city?
Yes.
But I mean, do people call it that or just rainy?
No, they do say that.
Oh, the rainy city.
Yeah.
I like Seattle. Great seafood. It's coastal.
Yeah.
Good time on a road trip there. Okay, is it time for a break?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a quick break, guys, and we'll be right back. guys, we're back from our break. Did you miss us? You did. Hello. Please watch the video as Melissa waves like Princess of Genovia.
Princess
of Genovia. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, did you see that they're working on
I saw on Twitter.
the
I'm
third one?
Here for it.
I am too. But they're like, we're not going to do it unless the script is perfect. Like they've
Thank
had,
God.
they've been like, it's been in the talks for years that they're going to do it. And neither one will do it until the script is perfect.
Can Nancy Myers write it? I like that idea.
Okay.
Who's going to love and just going to
mean, Shonda Rhimes wrote the second one.
I fucking forgot about that. She also wrote Crossroads.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, so
and she
good.
said that she like knows that they're bad, but they paid for her house and she doesn't care.
Well, no, I ever told you that I know the writer who wrote Hidden Figures, and I know her from writing some other stuff that we worked on together, and she literally has the same thing. She's like, oh, this is just paying my fucking bills. And she told me, she's like, I have this great idea for this thing. She's like, I figured out like these women who worked for NASA and like nobody talked about them. She's like, I'm just like saving money, and then I'm going to like take a hiatus for 2 years and interview all of these people. And then I saw a trailer for Hidden Figures, and I immediately was like, oh my God, if this is not her movie, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like someone else did it. And then I saw her name and I was like, whoa, and I like lost my mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
she's great.
All three of those women that it's based on
were they in your sorority?
All of them.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I don't even know any good Kappas. Marissa Hargitay? Meghan Markle
Why did I say
was
Marquez?
a Kappa who spells her name with an H, whose birthday is August 4th. My birthday. Not over it. I'm not over it. Okay. Well, that's nothing to do with the episode. Should we get into the next call?
Hey, I am 30 years old, and to preface my story, I am going through a divorce. So we got separated back in May, and I have moved out on my own and been on my own since August. So that is kind of a separate thing. But I started seeing someone, and it started kind of casually. He came over, and we had this big long weekend together. I slept over at his place, he slept over at my place. So we've been seeing each other for about 3 months now. Things are kind of casual. We're both seeing other people. However, he doesn't really date other people like me. He like has someone over for the night. But he really only, as far as I know, dates me and like takes me out. But he knows I really like him, and he's kind of made it clear that he is not interested in a relationship at this time, but he does like respond when I tease him about it, and he is definitely open to still seeing me, and he enjoys seeing me, and we talk every day. We talk on the phone, and I see him most weekends. But I guess I just don't know what to do. I really, really like him. And again, he knows I really like him. Last time we hung out, it was great. Everything, is awesome. But he gets a little uncomfortable when I mention kind of getting more serious with him. And he kind of says, well, he's not ready for that. But then he kind of makes it sound like maybe he will be ready for it. So it's a little confusing. I know I should just kind of be clear and kind of understand he doesn't want a relationship, yet he kind of wants to continue seeing me, but also see other people at the same time. He also likes to talk to guys online and not meet them. He just likes to chat with them, which is a little different. And yeah, I don't know. I really like him, and he surprised me with some Christmas presents, which was all on his own. And we're spending New Year's Eve together. So we're doing these things that are coupley, but it's just confusing. Anyway, I would love some advice on this weird, confusing relationship. I really like him, and I just kind of don't know if I should continue seeing him because I'm definitely getting hurt because I really like him, or if I should just try and be casual and see where it goes. Thank you.
My heart is hurting. My heart hurts for this.
I don't have heart, so.
True. Well, my Aquarius rising, I'm still coming off my period, so my Aquarius rising is settled down by my menstruation. So my feelings, I've got feelings this week.
Mine is though, I'll just get into it.
Yeah.
You're separated from someone you're married with. Like, you're not divorced yet. Like, you're kind of freshly separated. Well, it's been like, sorry. It's been like
I need
half
you
a
louder
year.
in my ears.
And it's been like half a year at this point.
Yeah.
Is this the first person that you have tried to get in like a relationship with? Because maybe you're still like fresh off of your separation that's headed towards a divorce, maybe. You haven't got a divorce yet, and you're just projecting feelings onto this guy.
Yeah, I would also say, now that you say that, that makes me think also this guy could also be protecting himself in the sense that like he's like, this guy is saying that he really has feelings for me and he wants to be in a relationship, but he's not even divorced yet. Like he might be protecting himself too and not wanting to get hurt because this isn't official yet. I mean, I think like, so I've had friends who've definitely gone through the sort of thing of like, I'm definitely like I don't know. I don't get it. I don't catch feels fast, but I have friends who do. And like exactly you said, like they get off right off of one breakup and they kind of like, that's where they feel comfortable is in a relationship, which I don't think there's anything wrong with. I think the ultimate thing is communication. And I do not, but I fucking can't with, and you didn't say this, so I won't say, but like the guys or anyone in general who's like goes into something being like, you know what, like I'm gonna get my heart broken, but I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. And I think you need to like, especially like coming off of like a separation and eventual divorce, like you need to protect your heart in like that way of there are so many like great people that you can date. And if the guy that you're seeing right now isn't ready for a relationship, that doesn't mean that he won't eventually be, but also if you continue to date him hoping for it, it's just putting a lot of pressure on that relationship that you might not be able to enjoy it as much as you could if you're with somebody who is at the same place that you're at. And also, were you at this place before you met him? Because I think that's what's really important in general. And we've said that so many times in the podcast. Like, it's not about like, oh, when you find the right person, you'll know you're ready. It's like when you'll know you're ready and then you're like, okay, I'm going to go date. Right. Like, I don't think you rarely figure that out when you're with somebody. And so I think, like I said, like getting caught up in the feelings of it all. And I think like there's nothing wrong with like being like a serial dater, like being like serial monogamous, wanting to like only like see one person or like be in a relationship. And there's also nothing wrong with like wanting to like remain casual. But I think at the same time, I would also say he got into like the guy that you're seeing got into a relationship with you as like on paper of like this guy is separated. This is going to kind of be in just general, typically more casual. So if he signed up for that, then maybe he won't be ready for this because he kind of went into this thinking like, oh, like this is going to be casual. But I think you just have to be really honest with yourself and then with him, because if he's not ready for it and
you're not ready for
it. And like I totally know the fucking sense of like when someone's like, oh no, but like I don't know, maybe kind of thing, like you read into it. And also when you have a crush, like you don't really want to like say goodbye to something that you're enjoying because they don't necessarily want the same thing in like a couple years from now. But like it's gonna get there eventually, and the longer that you are there, the more it's going to hurt when it comes to the end. So I think that you just need to be straight up. And if he's like, no, I really am not ready for that, then I think you need to part ways. And then maybe then you'll be like, yeah, I wasn't ready for that either.
Yeah. Do some self-love first.
Yeah.
And also, I apologize for coming into this too bluntly because I realized that I did come into it real bluntly.
No, I mean, I think that's always me. I think it's okay.
No, you always sympathize first and then go into it.
Do I?
Yeah.
I usually start with, we're going to lose a caller here. We're going to lose a listener.
But those are like the
extremes.
This one isn't like one where they're when they just know that they're what they're doing.
I also have a friend going through this, but minus the marriage aspect of like going off a relationship. And it's like they're very much stressing about, do I actually like this person that I'm seeing? And also that person basically like started a thing when they were like at the tail end of a relationship. So it was like, there's no strings, there's no commitment and anything. And now it's like, well, fuck, do I have feelings or do I not? And the advice I gave them was that of being like, you need to figure out what you want and then just be really straightforward. And if you can't figure out what you want, then if you can't figure out what you want immediately, figure out what they want. And if that's not what you want in this moment, then cut it off. And then you'll figure out what it is that you really want. But I don't think that you're going to really get there by staying in the same place that you're in, because that's just going to create tension on like all sides. Yeah. And I think focus on like ending. I know the separation divorce stuff can take fucking forever. Yeah. But I mean, take a hobby too, and all that, and spend time with your friends because I think that's another good thing too. But yeah, Best of luck. You'll be fine. It's all going to work out. On to the next.
I am 28 years old, and so this call is about my friend, which I know you hate. She's 22. We work together. She sits right next to me. And for the past, month, she's been coming in every day just dead inside. So I thought, I asked her about it, and every single time it's, oh, I've been fighting with my boyfriend, blah, 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 blah. And, I give her, the friend advice, if you're not happy, fucking leave. And today, she came in, and her face was puffy, and she had a bruise that was starting to surface. And, I told her to call the fucking cops because if he's hitting her, which, I asked her first, and she didn't want to say anything, but then she did. But she refused to do anything about it, and I know I can't make her do anything, but, as a friend, what's the nicest way to say, you're dating an actual trash can? I want to help her, and I want to help her, and I don't know how, other than, calling the cops for her, but I don't know, I'm not comparing before and after, right? Emotional abuse is still abuse. So it was, one thing to see her come in, feeling like trash, but to see her come in today with a fucking bruise on her face and, on her neck, too, it's just, I feel helpless, and it's not even about me.
Okay, first I just want to preface it that we're not, as you know, for any of this, we're not professionals, and we can't tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But there are several hotlines. There's one thing that's called the hotline, and I'll put it in the notes, that can give you actual professional help to help with this. It does take women. I know that I heard this fact before, but I'm not even sure if this is right. That it takes women 8 times to leave before, 8 times for things to happen to them before they actually leave.
Yeah.
And it's times trying to leave. So, and I have been you in this situation.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was being abused. The first couple times she was hit, she didn't leave. But I let her know that I was there for her. That I would always be there for her. If she needed anything, I was there. And then one night she just got fed up, and she called me, and we went to the police station, filed a report. And then even after that, she still didn't leave. It was the next time that it happened that she left.
Yeah.
But there was that paper trail with the police department too, of being able to get a restraining order and stuff.
Yeah. I had a friend who's had been in this situation as well. I wasn't friends with her until much later, and after hearing about the same thing, that it's a long time before you recognize that behavior, because also it's not, there's a very thin line between emotional abuse and physical abuse, and it's really easy to cross over to that. And emotional abuse is manipulation, and it's gaslighting. It rewires the way you think. So in any situation, when you can look at it from afar and be like, how could someone stay in this? This is someone, it's you think of serial killers who keep people, girls trapped in their basement. Why are they staying? R. Kelly, all of those things. This is manipulation of the mind.
Right.
I think first thing that you can call the police. You can call the police and do a welfare check on her. I think it's incredibly important in general for you, exactly like you said, to offer your support.
But I don't know if calling the police would be good, because it might scare him.
No, exactly. So that's if it gets to a point, know that you as a friend, though, you can call. It doesn't have to come from her. But the first thing I would say is I would, and I think you sound like a really great person. First of all, I would say, I think this is great that you're her coworker because you're someone who knows she has to come in and see at work every day. So this isn't a friend that she can avoid. This isn't something like that. You see her every single day. Yeah. You see the change. You see that like if anything physical happens, also if she doesn't show up for work, you are going to know. I think the first thing you should do, make a copy of the key of your apartment, give it to her, be like, hey, if you ever need any place to stay, if you ever at any point, middle of the night, I don't care, you can come here to my place. Like, just know that. Give her that opportunity, because that's the thing. Like it's feeling trapped in something and not having a way out, because that's what happens when someone's abusive is they cut everyone out of your life and the manipulative and everything like that. So because you have to see her for work, right? And you can give her that and just tell her just put it on something, tell her to hide it somewhere, anything that it doesn't need to be, like obviously not to tell him. And then I think if you have a conversation with her and tell her that you feel you're afraid for her. And I think the great thing is she admitted to you that this was abuse. She didn't want to admit it, but she did. And ask her if she would be comfortable of going to like a women's, like domestic violence, women's shelter, and just talking to someone. Yeah. Because the whole thing is like you're saying, you're not, like we're saying, and you're also feeling like this is none of our professional like fields at all. And so you don't necessarily know how to go about it. And I think if you can have her meet with somebody, like, and you go with her as being like that friend of being like, and so my dad's office used to be over a women's, I don't even, what's like domestic violence, like center or something great. And all the windows are tinted. That's all like mirrored windows. So you can't see into it. You have to buzz in. It's like a very, very safe space. And it was so secretive and private. Like my dad's office had a different entrance. So you couldn't even see all of this stuff. But like he was always saying, he's like, no, it's an amazing place for these women to go. And so much of the time, they don't necessarily leave immediately, but they've got resources of women who know what their rights are and know all of these things, and people who've been through that experience and been in their shoes to really help them through that. And I think that a lot of the time there's a lot of denial that comes in with that of being like, no, it's not, and all that stuff. But the second that she's able to talk to somebody who's been through it and can really like help like her in understanding, because they've also been through it, I think she'll understand a little bit more. And I think it's about preserving her safety. So whatever you can do in that sense, if she wants, and you can tell her, like, if you want to change what my name is in your phone to be something else, like you can totally change that. Like have this be something where like, if my name pops up, like, do you like, let me know, like I'm here. If like you want me to call you at 7 p.m. every night just to like give you an out.
Or even like if you put, if she put in her phone, like work. So then she knows that, oh, this is my office calling. I need to answer this. Or, and even with her, it's like, hey, if you're ever feeling worried and you want me to just like drive by and be outside the house, text me this, like text me something, like create a place in which she can feel like she can use you as an ally and as a friend when she's also at home, because I think that's the thing, you're able to be there for her at work. And also like it sucks because it is your professional job, and this is something that like you probably feel helpless because you're also supposed to be doing work, and then you also have this kind of there with her. But I think, and also ask her if she's comfortable being like, hey, just for anything that might happen, like can like we take pictures of this, like these bruises on you. Like, let's talk, like that kind of thing, and just being there to protect. And you could take it with your phone. Yeah. So then it's not in her phone in case he does go through it.
And I mean, even like the shady part of me was like, I mean, the next time, just take a picture and don't tell her. But like, I don't know how. You also don't want to push her away because like she's been honest and open with you about this.
You want to keep the
positive
respect and positivity. Yeah.
But I think giving her a key to your place, and I ask her if she's told anybody else too. Yeah, I think that needs to be,
and it might be more comfortable for her to just tell you because you're her work friend and not her friend too. So
but I really think trying to bring her to talk to somebody who works in these situations, because I don't know if you've, not to like make this about TV, but if you've ever seen Big Little Lies, Spoiler alert if you haven't listened to it or listened to. Hope you watched it with your eyes too. Oh, Amanda hasn't watched it. Okay, great. But in it they talk about making a game plan. And I know people who've been in those situations, and that's what you have to do is making a game plan for that. And so it's not just like I'm going to leave kind of thing.
Right.
And so
because you still have to live your life. You still have to live your life outside of this person. Too.
Yeah. And like you have to think about your safety in the long run and like it's a lot of emotional manipulation that's going to need therapy on her end.
Yeah.
And I would also ask her and suggest like, hey, and also something I wish people knew in general, you as a friend, you can go to therapy with your friend. You can do that. You can be like, hey, like, I think it'd be really great. And like, do you want, like, can we go? Like, I would love to do that. And you can go there and you can do that with her. You can even really make it about you and you can tell the therapist there.
Yeah.
And you guys can talk about it, but she doesn't have to go through any of those aspects alone. So like anyone going through any like really massive mental health struggles and stuff, like as a friend, you can go to therapy with them. So I think anything like that, because she's in a relationship with somebody who's manipulated her and convinced her that this is love and this is normal and this is what she deserves. And I think she needs, obviously, not only from you to hear that she's worth so much and this is not something that she should accept, but I think also from a professional who can be like, this is how we're going to help you get out of it. Because I think that's probably one of the scariest parts is like, well, how do you actually get out of the situation? Right. And yeah, my friend who was in that, it was like a very long process because it was like, she had no idea how to go about actually getting out and then staying out.
Yeah.
And it's so
messed up. And I'm sorry.
And also I'm sorry that this is also like a lot for you to handle too.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah. And like, it's never, obviously not as hard if you're not specifically in the situation, but as people, when you see someone being hurt, exactly like you said, that difference, it's hard. It's hard to see that. And it's also really hard when people don't listen. I've had friends with that too, where it's really,
but keep saying what you're saying because they're hearing it.
And she's still coming to you.
Yeah. And it'll eventually get to where it needs to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if you've like, it sounds stupid or whatever, but like, I don't know if she's ever, Jana Kramer, she's a actress and a country singer. She's like a really crazy, super, super intense, sad story about her own domestic violence and abuse. And she's like a very huge advocate for it now because she had gotten married really young, all of these things. So I think like the more that she can become aware of the fact that like, that is what this is, I think would be good too. Of like, you'd be like, hey, have you ever listened to like, and I would like Jana Kramer has a podcast. I'm like, hey, have you ever listened to this podcast? Like maybe listening to like this kind of thing, something that she can realize the scope of what it is, because I think there's probably a lot of manipulation on his end that's not what this is. But I'm really sorry. And this really fucking sucks.
Me too.
But best of luck. Yeah. You guys are going to get through this. Oh, okay. Do we have another call or is it time for...
Don't blame them.
Don't blame them. Don't blum.
Don't blum. Black.
Don't bluff them. Don't bluff them. Oh, I like that. Don't bluff them. Okay, guys. I guess I'll explain to you, not
the new
you,
people,
to the new peeps. Sup, new peeps. Holla at your girl. Who says that?
Holla.
That was such like late mid 2000s slang.
Yeah.
So this is when you guys, listeners, will call in and give your own advice on previous episodes. If you got personal experience, all of that stuff. You want to tell me I'm wrong. You want to tell me I'm like really right all the time. Mott says that all the time. He's constantly walking around as crazy. He's always like, you were right all the time. Never says that.
Well, people tell me that all the time.
Well, you are right always.
All right, so this one is from the first episode of this season with Nikki Limo.
Oh, it's a good one.
So the original caller is allergic to weed, and her boyfriend smoked a lot. And so this is someone calling with similar experience.
Hi, Megan. So I'm calling about your recent podcast where the girl is allergic to weed. So I'm 23. I've been with my husband for about 7 years now, and I am also allergic to weed. So my husband, he had seizures when he was younger, and so he actually smoked to control his seizures. and he hasn't had anything yet, so thank goodness. But basically, it was getting to the point where I couldn't be in the same room. Like, we live together, so obviously I want to spend as much time with him as I can. And we reevaluated it and realized that I'm only allergic to the leaf. And so he actually had to switch to using just wax. And since then, I have had no issues at all. And he knows this, and he's perfect. He was perfectly fine with the switch too. He even said he was saving more money because he wasn't smoking as much. But to the girl, advice for her, my thing with weed is, even if it is illegal where you're at, and I know it does affect her health, if I think if it does not affect you or your relationship or his choice of choosing and deciding with stuff when it comes to you in your future, it shouldn't be something you worry about. A lot of people use it as a relaxer, or in my case, my husband does use it to control his seizures. And we've had no issues. We have had the talk where if this gets in the way, it will be near the weed. And he's very understanding of that. And if your partner is very understanding of it, I think you'll be okay. But at this point, I would honestly say maybe ask him to switch up his method of smoking. Ask him if he would prefer doing wax, or if he would prefer a pen or something like that, and something that he would like with pens. Not that I'm promoting this, but you can easily smoke it outside on like a back deck or in a garage or something, and it's not going to put off as much as what actual weed would. So just something to think about. I really hope you figure everything out, and I'm so sorry that you're having that bad of a reaction to it. But girl, I totally get you, and I promise you will get through it. Best of luck, and thank you.
I really like her.
Me too.
I really like her a lot. I really love what she had said about that she delivered tough love with a cute voice too.
Mm-hmm.
And
I should work on that.
Yeah, me too. I just come at it like strong as fuck.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's like relating it to being like that his decision making.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't really affect your relationship unless the decisions are something that as opposed to this. And this is crazy that this is now the second person.
Yeah. There's actually a lot.
Wow.
There were a lot.
But it does make sense to me now that she's saying that she's allergic to like the leaf.
Uh-huh.
Like there definitely are components. Like I am allergic to lots of things, but there's some things that I'm allergic to that like if I put it on my skin, I will also get a reaction. And then there's other things that like I'm only allergic to if I eat it.
Mm.
So that does make sense that you would be allergic to like a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's I wish you could go to like an allergist and be like, what part of weed am I allergic to?
You probably can, like in California, I would think.
But it's illegal in the state that she's in.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
I wonder. Like they do the scratch
You guys
tests.
could take a trip.
Yeah. Roll on over.
Go to somewhere where it's legal. It's legal in a few places now.
Yeah.
So.
No, but I think that's a really like smart mentality. And yeah, the medical marijuana is a thing.
Yeah, it's legal
just
in Arkansas.
No way.
Medical, yeah.
Wow, go Arkansas.
Yeah, when I went home, it just got legal last year when I went, or it was either last year or the year before when I went home for Christmas. There's like signs everywhere for medical marijuana.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. I'm really, do you know Whoopi Goldberg has like medical marijuana, like period products?
No.
Yes, you can get tampons
She
with
never
it in
talks
there.
about that on The View.
I know.
I use cups, so that won't help me.
I talked to one of my friends DM'd me and she was like, I think you should start using cups. And I was like, I'm real squeamish. And she goes, me too. I just empty it into the toilet and then I close my eyes and I rinse it. And I was like, okay, maybe I could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do she's got this whole like line of like medical marijuana period products, which I'm like, I'm going to try them all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this was really, really, really great advice.
Me too.
Yeah, I really like her.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. I love how also like nice she was. I'm gonna be more like you. You're so nice to the callers, as I am being like, shut up. I don't tell you to shut up because then we wouldn't have a podcast.
Right.
Okay.
Everyone, keep talking.
Please keep
calling
talking.
in.
Do it. Speaking of calling in, that was the last episode. No, whoa, guys, don't worry. I'm so sorry to scare you like that.
We'll definitely be back next Wednesday.
We are back next Wednesday.
Monday.
God damn it! Stop, you're
maybe
fucking me
Wednesday.
up.
I don't know where this will line up with our bonus episodes. Maybe we'll be back on a Wednesday
sometime,
and on
a
Monday.
So that was our last call, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Let us know. sound off in the and by sound off I mean say nice things on YouTube and on social. You can follow us on Instagram at Don't Blonde Meme Pod, and our own individual socials will be listed down below.
Hers is Megan Rinks.
It is Megan Rinks. And what is your Twitter and your Instagram are different?
No, I've changed them so they're both.
They're the same?
They've been like that for like a year.
Oh.
She is not Melissa.
Oh, I'm thinking of Leo's because one of Leo's is Who is Leo Howard, and the other one is I am Leo Howard, which he didn't do on purpose. And I was like, that's funny.
It is.
It's funnier that he didn't try.
Yeah.
And if you guys are listening to this on the podcast app or Stitcher or SoundCloud or any of those other places and you want to watch it, head over to YouTube because we got the video feed there. You can see Melissa's really cute outfit. And then if you're watching on YouTube, you can check us out on all the places I previously mentioned. And then you can also just go to don'tblameme.show and you can figure out where to listen.
Stitcher.
Hell yeah.
Spotify.
Hell yeah.
SoundCloud.
Ooh.
Google Play.
Hell yeah.
That's all I got right now off the
Cool.
top of my head. But
Yeah,
it's
more
really
than me.
anywhere.
Yeah, really. Just
Art 19.
So if you guys want to be a part of an upcoming episode, leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And if you're an international listener, good day, mate. You can leave us record an audio file and send it to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Awesome, guys. Thanks for being here today. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you
for being here today. Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts. Camera operator Amanda Lechner. Production assistance by Julie Carley. And music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso, part of the HerPod Network.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle, what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures?
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.